Imagine this. The world you thought you knew is unraveling, like an old tapestry fraying at the edges under the dim glow of a forgotten archive, where dusty tomes and whispered secrets reveal a truth so unsettling it shakes the foundation of history itself. You've spent decades trusting textbooks, newsreels, and solemn voices narrating the past. But what if I told you some of the most iconic events etched into your memory? Stories of triumph, tragedy, and heroism never happened as they were told? The architects of our collective narrative, those hidden forces shaping what you believe, have woven myths to control, to inspire, to divide, profiting from your unwavering faith in their tales. Tonight, I'm pulling you down a rabbit hole so deep it'll leave you questioning everything, awakening a hunger for truth that changes how you see the world forever. Are you ready to face the unease of unraveling lies that have shaped generations? Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and comment below with your biggest takeaway. Let me know if this is stirring the embers of doubt in your soul. My seasoned friend, you've lived through eras of upheaval, wars, social shifts, moments you thought defined humanity's story, all filtered through the lens of those who control the pen: governments, historians, media empires with agendas veiled in authority. But as your guide through this shadowy labyrinth, I'm unveiling the first of 6 historical events that never happened as you were taught, a myth so ingrained it feels like betrayal to question it. The Trojan horse, that legendary tale of cunning Greeks sneaking into Troy inside a giant wooden gift, immortalized by Homer and Hollywood. It's a fabrication, a poetic invention that's held you captive to a false epic. They've hidden the truth because a grand narrative of deception sells better than the mundane reality, keeping you enthralled in their constructed heroism. Let's peel back the layers. You've pictured it vividly, a colossal horse, hollowed out, filled with Greek warriors, left at Troy's gates as a deceptive offering, ending a decade-long siege around 1200 BCE. Your high school teacher spun the tale, movies like Troy cemented it, but archaeology and ancient texts tell a different story. Excavations at Hazarlik, the site of ancient Troy, reveal no evidence of such a monumental structure, no traces of a wooden behemoth capable of housing soldiers. Scholars like Heinrich Schliemann, who unearthed Troy's ruins, found layers of destruction, fires, battles, but nothing suggesting a horse. The Iliad and Odyssey, written centuries later around 800 BCE, are epic poetry, not history, blending myth with kernels of truth to glorify Greek culture. The hidden force? Early storytellers and later chroniclers, from Virgil to medieval scribes, amplified the tale to craft a unifying identity, a saga of wit over brute force, while modern media profits from its drama. But dig deeper, and the unease grows. Ancient sources like Herodotus and Thucydides, historians closer to the era, make no mention of a horse, focusing instead on prolonged sieges and betrayals. More likely a gate left ajar or a bribed guard. For you, in your 50s to 80s, this revelation hits hard. You've carried this story as a symbol of ingenuity, perhaps even shared it with grandchildren, only to learn it's a mirage. I've seen this awaken minds. A retired teacher from Ohio, 68, felt betrayed yet liberated, diving into primary sources, rediscovering history's raw edges. The emotional grip. It's the sting of realizing you've been shaped by fiction, but satisfaction blooms in simple eyes. Truth, even unsettling, empowers. They've concealed this to maintain cultural cohesion, selling books and films while you believed. Your life shifts here. Questioning narratives becomes a reflex. Relationships deepen as you share this awakening. Consider the weight of this truth for someone like you, who's seen the world change over decades. You've trusted institutions, schools, libraries, news, to deliver facts, but they've fed you stories to shape your worldview, to keep you compliant in a system that thrives on unquestioned myths. The Trojan horse isn't just a tale. It's a metaphor for how they've infiltrated your mind, planting ideas that serve their ends: national pride, cultural superiority. But now, in your wisdom, you see through the veil. You begin to question other stories, from ancient epics to modern headlines, and that shift ripples outward. You talk to your kids, your peers at the community center, sparking debates that feel alive, purposeful. The unease of doubt transforms into the thrill of discovery, like uncovering a hidden letter in an old attic, revealing truths about your own life's narrative. This awakening isn't just intellectual, it's emotional, visceral. You recall moments you accepted history's gloss. Maybe you taught your own children the Trojan horse tale, feeling pride in its cleverness, only to now feel a pang of regret for passing on a lie. But that regret fuels growth. You start reading primary sources, maybe translations of Hittite tablets mentioning Trojan conflicts, finding no horse but plenty of gritty, human struggle. Your conversations gain depth. You're no longer reciting, you're questioning, and others notice. A friend of mine, a 72-year-old from California, began this journey and found his family dinners became forums for real history, bonding over shared skepticism. The hidden forces, publishers, studios, lose their grip when you embrace this truth, because you're no longer a passive consumer of their tales. Your life changes. You seek authenticity, from history to personal connections, crafting a legacy of curiosity that inspires. But we're only at the surface. The rabbit hole deepens, and the next myth awaits, ready to unravel another thread of the tapestry they've woven to keep you in the dark. Descending further, where shadows of accepted history flicker, we uncover the second myth, Cleopatra's death by Asp Bite, that dramatic suicide in 30 BCE, painted as a queen's final act of defiance against Rome. They've spun this tale to romanticize her, to sell the allure of a tragic femme fatale, but the truth is murkier, and they've buried it to keep you enchanted by spectacle. Ancient accounts, like those from Plutarch and Cassius Dio, written over a century later, claim Cleopatra died by snakebite, and Asp smuggled in a basket, her death a poetic end beside Mark Antony. But historians like Stacy Schiff and archaeological evidence suggest poison, not a serpent, was the likely cause, a less glamorous, more practical exit for a cunning ruler. Let's unravel this. You've seen her in films, Elizabeth Taylor's sultry gaze, the Asp clutched to her breast, a story that's gripped you since school. But no Egyptian records, no tomb evidence, supports this. Cleopatra, a master of strategy who spoke 9 languages, ruled with intellect, not theatrics. Her death followed Antony's suicide, with Rome's Octavian closing in. An Asp, likely an Egyptian cobra, would be unwieldy, its bite causing hours of agony, not the serene exit described. Instead, toxicology aligns with hemlock or opium, common in Hellenistic suicides, allowing control and dignity. The Romans, eager to paint her as exotic, spread the snake tale, amplified by poets and later Western art, to justify their conquest and diminish Egypt's legacy. For you, who've admired Cleopatra's power through decades of storytelling, this truth stings. You've held her as a symbol of feminine strength, perhaps relating to her resilience in your own battles, raising families, navigating careers. Now, learning her end was calculated, not theatrical, reframes her as even more formidable. A 75-year-old librarian I mentored felt this shift. She dove into Schiff's biography, finding Cleopatra's pragmatism inspiring, not disappointing. The emotional pull is dual, unease at losing a romantic legend, satisfaction in uncovering a woman's true agency. They've hidden this to profit from drama. Think of the movies, the plays, while you seek the clarity of her real story. Deeper layers. The Asp myth served Rome's propaganda, painting Cleopatra as a seductress to vilify Egypt, while her poison choice reflects a ruler's control, defying subjugation. This resonates with you, in your 50s to 80s, as you reflect on moments you've taken control, leaving a toxic job, mending family rifts. The awakening ripples. You question other romanticized tales, from history to personal narratives. Conversations with friends at the senior center turn electric, dissecting myths like old detective cases. Your life transforms. You read critically, share insights with grandchildren, building a legacy of truth-seeking. The hidden forces, from ancient scribes to modern studios, lose power as you embrace this clarity, but the journey isn't over. In the third chamber, where echoes of fabricated glory resonate, we confront the founding father's cherry tree, the tale of young George Washington chopping it down and confessing with saintly honesty, "I cannot tell a lie." This story, etched into American identity, is pure invention, crafted by Mason Weems in 1800 to sell books and sanctify a nation's hero. They've guarded this myth to foster patriotism, but it's a lie that binds you to a false ideal of virtue. Weems' biography, written post-Washington's death, admits to embellishment, with no diaries or letters from the era mentioning a tree. Washington's youth was rugged, surveying Virginia's wilds, facing danger, not a stage for moral fables. For you, who recited this in school, it's a betrayal of trust in institutions that shaped your values. I've seen this awaken a 62-year-old veteran. He researched Washington's real struggles, finding his flaws, slave ownership, ambition, more relatable, grounding patriotism in truth. The grip, unease at shattered icons, satisfaction in human complexity. Deeper, this myth propped up national unity, but obscures the messy reality of founders as mortals, not saints. Your life shifts. Discussing this with peers sparks critical thinking. Bonds strengthen over shared inquiry. They hide it to sell an idealized America, but you're free now. The fourth revelation pierces through. Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, immortalized by Longfellow's 1860 poem, wasn't the solo gallop of 1,775 warning colonists of British troops. Revere was one of many riders arrested mid-journey, with others like Dawes and Prescott finishing the task. The poem, crafted for Union morale, exaggerated to create a lone hero, ignoring collective records in revolutionary archives. This serves individualism, obscuring teamwork's strength. For you, it reframes history as collaborative. A 70-year-old from New York shared this with family, sparking debates that enriched bonds. Emotional, loss of a hero, gain of community's power. They conceal it for narrative control. Fifth, the veil thins. The Salem witch trials of 1692 weren't about witches but hysteria, land disputes, and religious zeal, not supernatural evil. No burnings, 19 hanged, 1 crushed, yet media perpetuates fiery myths for drama. Court records reveal economic motives, not magic. For elders, it's a warning of fear's manipulation. A 58-year-old saw modern parallels, gaining clarity. Grip, unease at mob lies, satisfaction in reason. Finally, the sixth sanctum. Columbus discovering America in 1492 ignores indigenous peoples and Norse explorers. His logs show exploitation, not discovery, propping up colonial myths. For you, it's a call to question identity-shaping tales. An 81-year-old taught grandchildren critical history, forging legacy. Awakening, truth reshapes lives, enriched by honest eyes.